Hello everybody, Root Beer here, and I thought we'd start taking a look at another Fryer contest. We're going to take a look at the 2012 Fryer contest in this video. So how about we jump right in and take a look. Alright, so I have a nice little preamble here, everything from the University of Waterloo. We have 75 minutes for the contest, 4 questions, each question's worth 10 marks. Fantastic, you should always read the preamble, no matter what contest you're doing, because sometimes they'll change little rules, or they don't usually change the rules, but they'll add little tips and helpful things that might not have been there in the previous year. Alright. But after all is said and done and all is read through, and hopefully you did read through it when you tried the contest for yourself, we get to question number 1. Fantastic. So we see that 1A's got a light bulb, B has a light bulb, C and D both have written style questions. That's okay. As usual, we're going to be writing out just about everything. That way, if we screw up, we at least maybe get part marks. Alright, 1A. In Carrotford, candidate A runs for mayor and receives 1,008 votes out of a total 5,600 votes. What percentage of all votes did candidate A receive? Okay. What percentage is a rather trivial matter to calculate for 9th grade students. We determine the total fraction number of votes and multiply that by 100%. It's just like sort of a unit conversion almost. So we'll grab ourselves a piece of paper. So it's number of votes over total votes times 100%. 1008 divided by 5600 times 100%. You can get out your trusty calculator if you want to, or you could factor these things. Either way. So 1008 over 5600, that's going to be 0.18. We times that by 100%. We get 18%. And we put a little box around it so they know that that's our answer. Or if we're actually writing the contest in person that day, we would put it in the box provided, because it's a light bulb question. So that's A part. In Beatland, here we are in B part, exactly 3 candidates, B, C, and D, ran for mayor. Candidate B won the election by receiving 3/5 of all votes, so 60% of all votes, while candidates C and D tied with the same number of votes. What percentage of all votes did candidate C receive? Okay. So there's a couple ways we can approach this question, and it all depends on do you like working with fractions, or do you prefer to work with percentages? Either way is fine. I think I'll work with fractions myself, but feel free to work with percentages if that's what you'd like to do. Either or. Just, do you calculate candidate B's percentage and then work from there? Or do you use the 3/5, figure out the fraction of votes that C got, and figure out his percentage? Either way to do it. Alright. And not the number of votes, but let's say the fraction of votes. So 3/5 plus x for C and X for D should give us 1, the total number of votes. So we do a little manipulation and we see that 2 times X is going to be 2/5. So X is 1/5. So the percentage of votes that C got, well, he got 1/5 of the votes. So that's the fraction of votes he got. To convert that to a percentage, we multiply by 100. And you can work that out by hand if you want to. I mean, 5 is a factor of 100. Or you can work it out with your calculator. Either way, we get 20%. So candidate C got 20% of the vote. And we would just put 20% in for our final answer. Okay. C. So we need written style answers here. In Cabbagetown, exactly 2 candidates, E and F, ran for mayor, and 6,000 votes were cast. At 10 p.m., only 90% of these votes had been counted. Candidate E received 53% of those votes. So not all votes, but of those 90% that had been counted. How many more votes had been counted for candidate E than for candidate F at 10 p.m.? Okay. So we know the total number of votes cast, and we're talking about 10 p.m., where exactly 90% of them had been counted. So we need to first figure out how many votes had been counted. So 90% of 6,000 were cast. So how do we figure out how many of the 6,000 were cast? Well, we convert 90% back into a fraction by dividing by 100%. So 90% over 100% times 6,000. So that should be 9 out of 10 times 6,000, because the percentages cancel out. And 90 over 100 is the same as 9 over 10. 9 times 600. And we get 5,400. Okay, so that's how many votes were counted at 10 p.m. So we know that 53% of these votes, these 5,400, were for E, and the remaining 47% were for F. So how many votes were for E? Well, 53%. We have to turn that into a fraction so that we can use it. Times 5,400. And that's going to be equal to 2,862. How about votes for F? Well, he got 47% out of 100% of the votes cast, votes counted by 10 p.m. and that gives us 2,538. Okay, and if we wanted to make sure, we could add up these two numbers and make sure that they are equal to the total of 5,400, because that's the total number of votes that needed to have been counted by that. Well, we're asked how many more votes did E get than F, so we need to take the difference between these two. So he got 324 more votes than F. All right. So that brings us to the last part of question 1D. In Pville, exactly 3 candidates, G, H, and J. I wonder why I didn't run for mayor. When all of the votes are counted, G had received 2,000 votes, H had received 40% of the votes, and J had received 35% of the votes. How many votes did candidate H receive? Well, we know he receives 40% of the total votes, so it might be useful to try and figure out the total number of votes. We know the percentage of votes that H and J both got, and using that, we know that together with G, that gives us the total of 100% of all votes. So we can figure out the percentage of total votes that G got. But we know how many exactly G got. Well, I know 2,000, which is the number of votes that G got, is going to be 25% of T. So that's going to be 1/4 of T. So T is going to be 4 times 2,000, 8,000. So we know that 8,000 votes were cast. Fantastic. We want to figure out the total number of votes H got. Well, you got 40% of the total, which is 8,000. That works out to 0.4 times 8,000. So H received 3,200 votes in total. Nice, clean, crisp answer. So we double checked. Yep, we answered everything we needed to. How many votes did candidate H receive? Fantastic. And we worked it out by first figuring out the percentage that G had, and using the fact that we already knew how many votes G had to figure out the total number of votes cast. And at that point, we just took 40% of that, because we are told right here that H has received 40% of all votes. So that concludes question number 1. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I hope to see you for question number 2 in the very next video. So I'll see you guys then.